If you're wondering if you need a DI box for live shows or in the studio, or if you're wondering what a DI box actually does, or how they compare to the high Z input on an audio interface, this is the video for you. Hi, Ed from edthorn.com here to help you make the most out of your home studios. To answer these questions, we need to understand what a DI box actually does. Signals from acoustic guitars and keyboards typically have a low-level, high-impedance output, which doesn't match up well with the typically low-impedance, balanced inputs found on audio interfaces and live mixing desks. To compound this problem, running these signals over long cable lengths can cause significant loss of level and sound quality degradation in the higher frequencies. Not ideal when we've spent thousands of pounds or dollars on our instruments and setups. Active DI boxes such as this Rupert Neve Designs RNDI hosts a Class A and discrete FET amplifier coupled with a step-up transformer to boost your line level signal and lower the signal's impedance whilst enriching the audio with subtle harmonics. The transformer also shields the input from the output, providing isolation from electronic interference within the box and power grounding issues commonly associated with connecting other electronic devices, such as mains-powered pedal boards. So if you're getting unwanted hums and buzzers out of your equipment, this might be the solution. A high Z input on an audio interface also bypasses these problems, but obviously these aren't typically designed for stage use and carting around. Now, before we hear how these three devices sound, let's compare the noise floor, the EQ linearity, and the harmonic content using Plugin Doctor set to hardware mode. But before we do that, I need to thank Sweetwater for making this video possible and providing me with the Rupert Neve DI for demonstration purposes. All the products in this video are available from Sweetwater, and I've placed links for your convenience in the description below. So on these graphs here, we can see the harmonic content and noise floors of each device with a 1 kHz tone sent through them. The X6 has the highest noise floor, measuring in at approximately minus 130 to 132 decibels. The BSS comes in about minus 146 to 48 decibels. And the RNDI has the lowest noise floor with over minus 150 decibels pretty consistently. It is this lower noise floor that can be attributed to the Rupert Neve custom-made transformer, offering exceptional isolation of the input and output signals. The more expensive transformers, such as this one, can typically handle higher input levels before saturating. On top of this, with these graphs side by side, you can see the physical output of the RNDI is around 10 decibels higher than the BSS. The lower noise floor and higher output will help significantly with long cable runs, for example across a stage or from one studio room to another. In terms of harmonic content, the X6 isn't producing any harmonics besides this single second harmonic, about 122 decibels. The BSS and RNDI are showing very similar harmonic content, with the BSS producing slightly more even order harmonics, the 2 and 4 kHz here. At around minus 100 decibels, these are quite subtle, but I dare say they will be audible. We'll have a listen shortly. Now, the sizable EQ bump at 20 Hz on the RNDI is possibly going to be felt more than heard, but combined with the harmonics should provide a rich and full sound. However, instead of looking at nerdy charts, let's listen to how they actually sound in the real world and if we can hear a difference. My friend Dan Francis Owen of the Real Life Gig Advice channel has recorded a rather sexy bass line through each of these devices. Great care was taken to match the input gains as closely as possible, and as you can see on screen now, they're virtually identical. So to my ears, the RNDI has a touch more bite in the 2 to 4 kilohertz region. The X6 High Z has a fraction more low-mid content, and I'm hearing a ever so slight mid-range dip on the BSS. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Now, high-resolution copies of these exact audio files are available in the free members area of my website, edthorn.com. Signing up for free gives you access to these files, gear guides, and my library of free drum loops. Link in the description below. So how much difference does a DI box make, and which one is right for you? The higher input and output isolation and output level is where the value in the Rupert Neve RNDI is, but there are a few practical differences that make the BSS a solid option. Both devices are built like a tank, but the rubber enclosure on the BSS gives me more confidence it can handle the rigors of live shows. I've used these for years with my live sound business, Ed Thorn Rhythm and Sound. They really are solid and reliable. The only thing to consider with these though is the 9-volt battery clips inside the housing can become loose and touch the chassis, causing a short circuit and a lot of noise. If you're not going to use the battery port, I suggest electrical taping the connectors to avoid this. Both DI boxes feature an input signal attenuation pad where the audio interface does not. The BSS offers 20 and 40 decibels of input attenuation, where the RND offers already very high headroom at 21.5 dBu on instrument mode, going all the way up to 41.5 dBu on speaker mode, capable of handling the full output of a 1000-watt amplifier. The BSS and RNDI both host jack line through outputs to feed an amplifier if you want to track a DI and an amp with mics on it at the same time. And the High Z, of course, feeds the Apollo Unison preamp and guitar amplifier modeling technology, but recording a dry duplicate send with this is not possible without some complicated routing and a little bit of latency. You could, however, use the link/through output to feed a second input on your interface to get the dry signal. Now, you might be thinking, I'll just mic up and record an amplifier and bypass the need for a DI. Of course, you can do this, but if you can do both, why wouldn't you? For example, I recently mixed a track with a horrible sounding guitar amplifier recording, and I chose to mix the track using the DI'd recordings reamped through the Universal Audio Chandler GAV19T guitar amp and got a much better sound. That is a killer Unison preamp if you're looking for a guitar emulation, and in this case, the mix would have been flawed without the DIs as a backup. And as a live sound engineer for many years, I can tell you a DI signal is much easier to control and very usefully doesn't introduce unnecessary stage bleed into the signal path like a microphone does. Regardless of proximity, you get noise. To find out what harmonic saturation is in audio, check out this video here. Thank you, Sweetwater, for sponsoring this video. Remember, the high-resolution audio files are available on my website, edthorn.com. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.